Hello, Super Second Graders. Yesterday, we read the first part of this story. We learned why the government makes laws and what the laws are for. Today, we will be reading the next section. Let's look at the subtitle. The subtitle are these dark letters up at the top that tell us what this section is going to be about. The subtitle says, "What happens when a law gets broken?" Let's listen to the story and make sure you are listening for the key details. What are the most important things that the author wants you to remember?
What happens when a law gets broken? Many things can happen when a law gets broken. Here is an example. When a school bus has stopped to let students get on or off, a car is not allowed to pass the school bus. An accident could happen. It is against the law for a car to pass a school bus that has stopped for students. One day, a driver does not stop. He drives past a school bus that has stopped for students. A police officer sees this. He goes after the car. He makes the driver stop. The officer writes a ticket and gives it to the driver. The ticket says which law the driver broke. The ticket also lists a fine. The driver may have to pay a fine.
So now we know what happens when a law gets broken. Let's look for the key details. What are the steps that happened on this page? So on the first paragraph, they were telling us about a special law. This is the law that says that cars must stop if students are getting on or off of a school bus. So it is against the law for a car to pass a school bus that has stopped for students. That's a key detail because the whole two pages, both of these pages are talking about the fact that you have to stop if there's a school bus with its stop sign out like this one has. Okay, now let's find out what happens when this driver decided not to stop. So let's find out the steps. So first step was the driver does not stop. That was the first thing that happened. He drives past a school bus that has stopped for students. Well, that's still part of that action, right? He did not stop. Okay, let's see. What's the next thing that happens when he decides not to stop? A police officer sees this and he goes after the car. He makes the driver stop. So the police officer goes after the car. That's the thing that happens right after the driver drives past the bus. And after he goes after the car, he makes the driver stop. All right. The police officer writes a ticket and gives it to the driver. Oh boy, that never makes any driver happy because now he's going to have to pay for his bad behavior. So, let's see. So if the officer writes a ticket, he's going to give it to the driver. And the ticket tells which law the driver broke. That's a little detail. That's just telling me more about writing the ticket. The ticket also lists a fine. That's another supporting detail. It's telling me about the ticket that he wrote. The driver may have to pay a fine. That's a new detail. So if your parents are ever driving and they get a ticket, they may have to pay a fine. That's a new important detail.